to be faded.
We're talking to climatologist Dr. Tim Ball, and he's done a lot of great work warning people, getting the word out. Going to ask him in a moment some of the best ways to find some of his writings, the materials he's put out. We really appreciate him taking time out to talk to us today. Sir, you've read their own writings. You know what they're doing. They brag about it, then they tell the public it's about humanity and our children and jobs, jobs, jobs. That was what they said over and over again as they passed the climate takeover bill. It's not just about eugenics, though. It's like a total Soviet society where everything's micromanaged, and we have these big global corporations who love it because they're monopoly capitalists. They know the biggest profits are made out of controlled partnerships with government. And you say people are waking up, and they are waking up. So they go from global warming to climate change to deteriorating atmosphere to carbon poison. I've seen dozens of video games, dozens, free on the Nickelodeon website and other places for kids where carbon monsters try to kill kids and the kids practice killing the carbon monsters. They teach it's an absolute fact. It's toxic waste. It will kill you. You can tell the general public the scientific name of water, and they will panic, most of them, and say ban it. If you go out and talk to a crowd of people, that happens. So you've got the floor. Break down who these people are, how we counter them, where you see this fight going, what you think of the world right now, all across Europe and the United States and Canada, falling to the climate cops, falling to the new green tyranny, the home inspections, the shutting down of the factories, the energy taxes. What in the world are we going to do?
Well, it's the power of the media, the spin doctors, has reached global proportions. And one of the things that's really problematic about it is the great bastion of freedom is the U.S. and the freedom for the individual in the U.S. And it's being destroyed. And what's ironic about it is that China is just ignoring all of what they're doing. China's not going to sign any climate bill. In fact, China are not only holding your debt now, but they're also saying, oh, well, by part of Kyoto, you've got to pay us for the damage that you've done. So the country that's holding most of your debt is telling you you've got to pay them as well. So it's really disturbing on a global scale. I tell people, you hear a lot of anti-Americanism, especially up here in Canada, I say, look, if you think the U.S. is a problem as a superpower, you ain't seen nothing yet. China will be a lot worse because China looks after China, period. And so this is what's happening on a larger scale. It's also, of course, why Morris Strong has moved there. He's got in on the ground floor in what's going on in China, and so that's part of the difficulty. But what they needed was a vehicle. They needed a vehicle to control the public. They needed a vehicle that they knew that most of the public wouldn't understand. And, of course, the environment became the big issue, as we've discussed, an important issue. Everybody realized you got to keep your own home clean. And so people bought into it, but they didn't realize that it was a Trojan horse that these people were using to infiltrate. And, of course, then within that, the more strong focus on CO2 and controlling of the energy. Because, you see, I mentioned about the engine. You can shut the engine down by squeezing the fuel line. You can also stop the engine by plugging the exhaust. And, of course, that's what they're doing with pointing the finger at CO2. But one of the other problems is that the science where we need to focus is on the CO2. Say, okay, you brought us down to that. Let's look at what the arguments are, the scientific arguments. Now, the hypothesis, and scientists work by hypothesis. They say, well, if this could happen. Those ifs are assumptions. So, for example, Einstein's theory of relativity assumes that nothing can go faster than the speed of light. Well, if you find something going faster than the speed of light, then the formula E equals mc squared essentially becomes redundant because it's only as valid as the assumption on which it's built. The fundamental assumption in the IPCC hypothesis, which of course Strong was the architect of, was that human CO2 or CO2 is a greenhouse gas. That is, it traps heat. It's going to increase in amount because humans are producing more of it, and that as CO2 goes up, the temperature will rise. Those were the assumptions. Well, first of all, the most fundamental one that with CO2 increase, the temperature will rise. There's no evidence anywhere in any record of any duration for any time period in the history of the Earth in which CO2 increase precedes temperature change. In every record, it's exactly the opposite. And the most famous one, Alex, is the ice core record, which they came out with and said, oh, look, there it is, the temperature going up and down over a 400,000-year record, and there's the CO2 going up and down. And the scientists, the British and the French scientists, Jalzel at the time, I remember when this came out in the 80s, said, look, don't rush to judgment on this. But, of course, they rushed to judgment. Here it is. There's the proof. We now know that temperature change precedes CO2. So CO2 is not driving temperature at all, let alone the human portion of it. So
now, for those that don't know, Doctor, let's be specific.
Yep.
Major universities, hundreds of firms,
Yep.
It's all on record. They go out and test the ice core samples going back hundreds of thousands of years.
Yep.
And it all fits what we saw in the start of the Bronze Age, 9,000 years ago. It all shows that warming period 1,500 years ago in Europe when there was the big, the vineyards everywhere that aren't there now in Northern Europe and in England, that the CO2 follows after a temperature increases. Then there's obviously more life. Things melt, more CO2 gets released because of water vapor, a lot of different reasons. You're the climatologist, you can explain it. But what Al Gore did is he moved it, he cheated, and because they're very close on the graph, but it comes after, he moved it to coincide. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, one of the things that was not very widely publicized was that a week before he got his Nobel Prize, and I thought the Oscar was appropriate because it was from the land of make-believe, but the Nobel Prize... The Nobel Prize is a different issue, but the week before he got it, a parent in England took the movie to court and said, look, my son's been forced to watch this 4 times. There are major scientific errors in it, and I want, if they're going to show it, I want a warning, a government warning against what's wrong with this movie. The judge ruled that the movie was propaganda. Actually, he didn't use that term specifically, but he said it's politically biased, and he said there are 9 major errors, and the one you just mentioned is one of them, the shifting of the curves to coincide. Now, that was a week before he got the Nobel Prize. Now, you could say, okay, well, the Nobel Committee couldn't have had time to see that judgment and so on, but the rulings the judge made were already in the literature, so the Nobel Prize Committee didn't do their homework. They'd already decided that they were going to give it to him, and that was the end of it. So, I don't think ever in history has a Nobel Prize been given to somebody whose work has been found criminally wrong, before he got it. It's absolutely amazing.
Well, why don't they just give him a Nobel Prize for inventing the internet? Or how about how about a Nobel Prize? Hold on, how about a Nobel Prize for Kitty Hawk? Let's just say he did that too. How about a Nobel Prize, instead of Madame Curie for inventing X-rays?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, of course, one of the things that we're seeing here, and some people have referred to this, is the big lie. The bigger the lie you tell, the more people will believe it. And, of course, one of the things that's amazing, and you mentioned this at the top of the program, that he's challenging other people, saying they're not qualified and they're flat earthers and blah, blah, blah. But nobody ever says, well, what qualifications have you got? And this is the amazing thing about how he's been able to survive and get away with what he has. But it's this whole thing about propaganda, and because it's purely propaganda. And so what we got to keep focusing on, and this is where you asked about how we deal with this, is start to look at, okay, what is CO2? And by the way, one of the things, Alex, that we talked about extremism. The first thing that's happening is that the politicians generally worldwide, but not the U.S., are realizing that the climate or cap and trade and anything to do with that is going to be harmful to the economy. So they're backing off on it that way. The other thing is that I know from all the politicians I've talked to around the globe, and I had a chance to listen to Václav Klaus in New York.
That's the head of the EU, for those that don't know.
Yeah, he's head of the EU and president of Czechoslovakia. But he, one of the things that these politicians, they've been bullied into silence because when you talk to them off the record, they said, "Yeah, look, we know what you're saying, we understand that, but it's absolute political suicide to go out there and suggest, because you're immediately, oh, he doesn't care about the planet, he doesn't care about the children, about the future," and they're bullied into silence. And when you look at Exxon, for example, here's a corporation that admittedly spent $16 million on climate research. Well, I wouldn't invest in an oil company, an energy company that wasn't looking at what the climate was going to do and what the demand for their product was going to be. They've said they're not going to put any more money into it. I mean, it's just ludicrous, but they're bullied by these people into silence.
Well, yeah, that was in the New York Times that David Rockefeller, Rex Tillerson said it was all a fraud, because it is. And Rockefeller showed up at the board meeting and said, "I'm going to fire all of you. I still own this company.